Hey, and welcome to this week's episode of That Real Estate Tech Guy. I'm your host, Jordan Samuel Fleming, and I am delighted to say this episode's a cracker with Trevor Mauch from Carrot.com. Now, if you don't know Trevor, you'll know Carrot if you're in real estate. It is one of the biggest lead generation platforms in the country for real estate investors. And of course, they have, in the last couple of years, they have purchased InvestorFuse and launched Carrot CRM as well. This is a great conversation with Trevor. Trevor is an amazing guy who's built an amazing business and he has an amazing brain for business. And not only do we touch a lot of the core kind of lead generation concepts and talk a bit about, the importance of moving from lead gen to your CRM, but Trevor really dives deep into what it means to scale a business, particularly as a real estate investor. And you're not going to want to miss this episode on YouTube. If you're listening to this on your podcast, whatever platform you're listening to, go over to YouTube and check it out there, because he shares a screen and he talks us through some of the kind of growth levers and the growth kind of stages which he has seen over the years, and he's really clearly thought a lot about. This is an opportunity to hear from someone who has built an amazing business, who thinks deeply about business. And I can't tell you enough good things about Trevor. Carrot, our partnership with Carrot and Carrot CRM at Smartphone. And this is just an episode you're not going to want to miss on YouTube. So head over there now and give it a like and give it a question, and I'll get it over to Trevor. For now, let's go to the show. And we're live. I'm here with Trevor from Carrot.com. Most of you probably know who he is, but in case, Trevor, just give a little bit of summary of who you are and what your companies are all about.
Jordan, dude, first of all, appreciate the opportunity, man, and good to see you. Yeah, I own a company called Carrot, Carrot.com, and we serve thousands and thousands and thousands of the top real estate investors, flippers, wholesalers, a lot of agents, and now we're going into home services too, HVAC, roofing, contractors. But yeah, what we do at the root is we help you get in front of your most motivated prospects online with our websites, our high-performing websites, our marketing data and stack in the back. And then now with our CRM, we help you convert those leads into deals at a faster clip with our AI automation there too. So basically, we want to be the inbound marketing stack for the high-ticket service businesses in the market, including real estate investors.
Absolutely. And I mean, inbound is such an important, it's such an important thing. If we just think about the real estate market right now and where people are, inbound is absolutely critical. Most people, inbound is where you get your most qualified leads.
Yep.
Without question. It's where you're able to focus and follow up and get your most success. But I think a lot of people just default to the sort of high volume outbound to begin with. Have you seen any changes happening to kind of, success rates or to levers that people need to pull for inbound over the last year? Because it's been a weird year.
I mean, the real estate markets, adjusted in many spots. We have some of our clients, like let's say the Ohio markets, they're going, oh man, best years I've ever had. And all of them are doing good, it seems like, up in some of those markets. And then you have guys in other markets where it's like, oh man, 1 month we're up here and then 1 month we're down here. So there is inconsistency across the board in some of them. But then there's the AI dynamic, how AI search has changed the way that people find solutions online. And so that's something we've been heavy into this past year. We can talk a little bit about that if you want. But at the high level, kind of the way that I think about marketing in real estate, and I believe it applies really well across the other home services markets too, is for me, inbound is the foundation, right? It's the thing that creates consistency in your business. By inbound, I'm talking about inbound, Jordan. Some people will say that the direct mail and things like that are inbound. For me, that's actually outbound, because I'm taking a message, I'm sending a message out to people to get them to try to find it and grab it. Then they will come inbound, but that technically is outbound marketing. Inbound for me is we're putting something out there in the current flow of where people are already going to find a solution, and then we're getting in front of them. That's your Google searches, now Chat GPT. It's networking. Local networking is inbound marketing technically. But I was like inbound as the foundation because it creates consistency. It's a little harder to get going at the start, though. That's the drawback. It takes a little bit more work to get momentum going. But once it's got momentum, man, you're getting the best leads, the most motivated leads, the close the quickest. They have the highest profit deal or profit, and they're the most consistent. Where outbound comes for me is it's fast. So if you're going to go into a market, you're probably going to go outbound first to test the market, and it's scale. So it's speed and scale. The people who are doing the most deals, we have a client, Rapid Fire Home Buyers. They do 500 to 600 wholesales a year, and they crush it with Carrot. Carrot's their number one profit lead source. But by volume, it's direct mail, it's cold calling, it's all the other ones. But they've got to mix all of them to get their 500 deals a year.
And that mix is a really important, the having a really good mix as you start to scale up as an investor. When you get started, chances are if you're just getting started, you're watching your pennies very carefully because you don't have any pennies yet. And, but and so you're going to make decisions. You're probably going to make decisions around what is cheapest, what is quickest, and that's totally fair. Like that, totally fair. But then when you start to scale up, we both know the scale up involves solidifying your marketing channels and solidifying your process internally. And those two have to go hand in hand, because I would imagine the thing, and probably I'm curious, one of the impetus for you guys bringing out Carrot CRM, I would have guessed, and this is just pure guess on my part, is being tired of generating leads that people don't follow up properly.
Yeah.
Was that because
That's a big part of it. I'll tell you the major part of it, though. So kind of speaking software owner to software owner and marketer to marketer. Yeah, when you have thousands and thousands and thousands of clients that come in to say, hey, Carrot, help me get leads. And then they're getting leads, and you can't serve them and help them manage those leads and turn them into deals. Yes, we're not serving them well to be able to then close those leads into deals that they're already getting, number one. But number two, from the business perspective, one way to grow is you always go, well, what can I help people with that they need right before or right after my current product? And that was just the logical, well, they need that right after they get leads. But the biggest strategic reason, and this is what I'm most excited about, Jordan, as we're heading into the future, is when AI really became mainstream, and it's something that all of us started using, where people are going to win with AI. It's not the companies that use AI that are just going to win. It's the companies that have unique data that layers over the top of AI. That's where you really start to win. And we've got a really unique data set with more online leads coming through our platform from motivated sellers than any other platform in the world by a good margin. Because their clients crush it in Google, they're crushing it in ChatGPT now. They do really, really well in Google PPC and Facebook. So we have all this data. We were missing the data once the lead come in, because to really make marketing powerful, so let's say you're trying to build a masterful marketing stack, you need to know what the heck happened with that lead when it came in. Did it turn into a deal? Was it a highly profitable deal? What marketing channels turn into deals? And we didn't have any of that because you couldn't unify the whole stack. And so now we have that data with some of the biggest wholesalers, flippers in the country, where we know what marketing channels turn into deals by when, how many touches you need to have, what types of touches make the most sense. And then we can take that data in our future products we're developing with AI, learn from it, feed it back into the front end of the funnel, and then go, now let's take this whole thing across the Carrot ecosystem and say, what types of contacts are likely to lead into the best deals? Feed those back into the marketing machine, back into Google, back into Facebook, back into the content machine on your website. So that's where we're going. And that was the real reason behind the CRM side of it, is we can help make the marketing better.
Yeah, I mean, and that's such a smart thing to do, because over the years, as I've kind of worked with real estate investors, I've taught real estate investors how, certainly on the phone side. I can't teach them on the real estate side, but I can teach them on the phone side. But one of the things I always say to them to track is, I want to know, you're going to have lots of different channels if you've started to build a proper business. I want to know which channels are bringing the leads in. Of course, that's easy. I want to then know, not only do I want to know what channels are bringing in the leads that then convert to contracts and closing and money, but I also want to know by each channel, how many touch points, to your point, how many times do you have to call? Because that's really important to know, because you may find when you really get that kind of data there, you're going to be able to spot the trends of where you should be putting your money to make the best profits and the easiest conversions. And that's only if you're actually looking at that data as a single data set, as a combined data set, which is what you really are doing.
And dude, with some of the investors that have the bigger teams, like you guys work with a lot of investors with teams, right? That's just something Smartphone is amazing with. And with our CRM products, we acquired InvestorFuse, as you know, and the last year we've worked on melding the two products together. So there is probably a little confusion right now because we still have InvestorFuse 3.0. We've got Carrot CRM. It's the same product, but there'll probably be another year transition where we sunset InvestorFuse, and then it's just Carrot CRM that serves multiple markets. But where I'm going with it is, inside of the product, one of the things that the InvestorFuse team built before we acquired the product was the ability for an owner to say, based on lead channel or lead type, let's say it's a PPC lead, and we know that those are really high quality, but you got to get on them fast. You can assign then, if you have the data, your best closer. And so you're not going to assign those leads to the new acquisitions manager over here that's coming in. It's like, no, the highest quality leads that need the best touch, they're going to get routed immediately to your best closer. Take the other leads that maybe take many more touches, a lot more work, maybe a little bit lower profit margin. Assign those to your acquisitions managers or lead managers who are more training. And then you can start to do that. But you can't do that if you don't have the data. And I think that's one of the important things when you're marketing. I heard a quote years ago. I think it was Eugene Schwartz, one of the famous copywriters from back in the day. I think it was from him, but it was something to the effect of 50% of your marketing doesn't work. Most people just don't know what 50%. And that's where we have to figure out what is working, what's not, so we can stop the stuff that's not working and scale the stuff that is.
Well, and to your point of the assigning your best leads to your best people, that's also where AI is going to have a massive input into this. I mean, what we like, as I was speaking to John, your colleague, the other day, telling him about the agent marketplace we're launching, where, and we're doing it very, very specifically, which I think it's going to resonate well with Carrot. And I think we're going to be able to collaborate very well on it, because everybody right now in the AI voice agent set is kind of side of things, they're doing two things. One, they're not actually understanding the need to scale up that technology in the right way. They're vibe coding this shit, so to speak.
Oh, yeah.
And that's great, but that ain't going to scale.
Yeah,
We all,
the biggest ones in this industry right now that you and I know about, I mean, they could have been built in a weekend, except for the knowledge that they poured into it. That was their unique IP, but the tech was built in a weekend on like Lovable or something like that. I mean, I'm exaggerating there, but not too far.
not too far. And that's a danger. And the other thing I've noticed is a tendency to wall the garden a little. Like, we've got our agents and that's it. Whereas we're building a marketplace where people, Carrot, businesses, our partners, some of our coaching partners, we're going to be able to build their agents in the marketplace. And what's really exciting to me about that is then you're going to have these speed to lead agents that are trained by some of the best coaches or some of the best people in the industry.
Yep.
Have you tried some of these voice agents that are trained in real estate yet?
Dude, I've only seen the one from Steve, and
Which is good.
I've done that. But even just on normal GPT, I literally was on a 10-minute conversation with my GPT gal in here talking about vision, having her work it up into something. That is a perfect no, but even just in this last year, that conversation is light years better than it was a year ago.
I tell you, it's so good at this point. I was testing, because we're just launching the marketplace now. By the time this comes out, it may be out. I was testing the agent, and I was testing it on empathy and some of these skills. So, one of the things the agent always does, he says, can I ask what's made you want to sell the property? And at this time I said, oh, well, my wife died. And right on cue, he went, I'm really sorry to hear that. That must have been very tough. Thank you for sharing that with me. That's not the impressive bit. The best bit was I then talked over him. the next sentence. And that's one of the pain points of voice agents right now, because when you talk over a voice agent, they kind of freeze and they're like, fuck, now what do I do? And so I thought to myself, cause he froze, and I thought to myself, damn it. And then I went, are you there? And he said, and I kid you not, he said, I was just taking a moment to let that sink in.
Really?
And I just like, even I was sitting there, I think my wife was in the room, and we both looked at each other and went, oh, that was good.
Yeah.
But that's where we are now. And, and I think it's such an exciting thing from a Carrot. Like when I think of Carrot, cause I love the direct sync with Carrot, from your marketing to your CRM to the follow up and all that. That's so, cause those are where so many balls get dropped. And when I think of you guys, and I think of the scale up ability there, when we combine it with agent, like the agentic experience of being able to jump on those leads, being able to follow up with voice calls by an AI agent,
Yep.
we get an opportunity, to your point, to have your best agents always at the top working the best leads, and everything else can be run by AI.
Dude, and that's the thing. Like, people ask the question, where does AI go in the whole mix of things? There's the ethical conversation of, well, is it going to replace people, or the ethical conversation of, do we disclose whether it's an AI in there? And those are all conversations I think that need to be had and sifted out. But from a practical business running perspective, in the end of the day, yes, it will mean fewer people in certain roles that people are in right now, right? I mean, just at the end of the day, that's what it means. That's what all technology has done. When you look back in time at all the major technologies, when airplanes came to be, it meant less people on the railroads that were doing certain things. When Henry Ford made the assembly line, it meant fewer people on the assembly line. It didn't mean those people are not going to have jobs. They get reallocated towards hopefully a higher level positions. Now, what almost happened in America, which is wild, and this is perfect that AI is stepping in right now, is America kind of became so, I'm going to use the word lazy. That might not be the right word, but so lazy that it didn't want to take the hard manual jobs anymore, the repetitive tasks, those things that machines or people from other countries would do. And so all of a sudden it created this weird dynamic where there's now not enough people willing to do that work. I think we're on the doorstep of that same type of dynamic, and we already are. There's a lot of people overseas that are lead managers, acquisitions managers. People in the States don't want to do it, or you can't get the right pay scale for that role. AI is going to step right in to fill that gap. And then it enables, like you said, your highest performer, your best performer. Now that person gets to run the agents, and then tackle the biggest calls. I was talking with another software company owner, a number of months ago, and we were looking, and SDRs is a role in the software world that's very similar to like an acquisitions agent or something like that, right? Or a lead manager. And this person said, we're on the doorstep of $250,000 a year SDR, which normally an SDR is going to be 60 to 80,000, maybe 100,000, depending on the company. And he goes, in a company where you might have had 6, 7, 8, 10 SDRs, you're going to have one SDR that manages 9 agent bots or something like that. And that's where I see a lot of opportunities for businesses and for workers, is just really master learning how to embrace AI. Because AI is not going anywhere. It's not going to retreat and go back. And so if you're in 1999 and you're the local, sporting goods store downtown, and you're pushing against the internet saying, well, I'm going to resist. Well, 5 years later, you went out of business. That actually happened here. I think the same thing is going to happen for those that resist really embracing AI in the right spots.
I think you're 100% correct. I've said this on, I said this on Steve Trang's podcast, who we both know well, that AI is a transformational shift like the internet was. It is a fundamental realignment of how we do things. Mm-hmm. And to say, to think it isn't, is to put yourself out of date and relatively irrelevant in terms of what you're thinking, and to embrace it and understand where, to your point, talent still rises, and dedication. Like, to me, what AI is going to do good, in some ways, a good thing to the workforce, is those coasters. Yep. And we all know those people, even some of them in our own, like, I can think of a few people in my own company that I think are kind of coastery. We don't have many. We've got a phenomenally good team, but maybe one or two people who I could think of that are coasters. Coasters are not going to exist in companies for very long because there's not going to be the space for them.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's not a bad thing.
Exactly. I think it'll strengthen the companies. And here's the other side of it. I'll kind of toss your way is, so usually what happens is when a new innovation comes out or a trend, everything goes one direction, right? And everyone's like, oh my gosh, you've got to use this. So AI, you've got to use this. Everyone's going to get AI agents. Everyone's going to do certain things. What I'd like to do is, yeah, let's adopt that, but always think of what is the next thing. And usually those swing back. And I believe that we're going to see a swing sometime over the next 5 to 6 years where that becomes mainstream, using AI becomes mainstream, but now it's going to be unique and an advantage to swing back and be extremely human. And so that's where, like with the website and the marketing side of things, how AI is being used online in Google and ChatGPT is it's actually rewarding the things that do not seem like automation, that do not seem like machines. It's rewarding the things that are hyperhuman. It's rewarding the things that truly show the real picture about your business, shows your experience, your actual experience. Not just saying we've been investing for, we're local investors, say, we've been here for 16 years. We've helped 1,125 local homeowners sell their homes. And here's 15 of them right here. And we're going to name the people and literally say what parts of town that they were in and show real pictures, showing real reviews, stopping, hiding behind our websites and not having our about pages really talk about our team, but instead talk about our team. And just doing all those extremely human things. And so I think the more that people can leverage AI to make more easy those lower level or repetitive tasks that require less of a human touch and excellence, and then elevate the human in those spots where only they can do that right now. But then we go, how do we make our marketing? How do we make our conversations that we actually have? How do we make our websites hyperhuman, hyper real, showing our trust, our credibility, our authority, our expertise, and going all in on that? Those that do that, I think, are going to win big time.
I think that's a really interesting and a really valuable point. And I think it proves out to me in just little things like, 2 months ago, you and I saw each other in Tampa, right? And the human connection is never going, like, this human connection is still the most powerful thing you can have. I mean, I got into the room in Tampa, and there were people who I've been done business with virtually for 8 years, who this was the first time I was able to shake their hands, give them a hug, and that means something. That means something. John, who I've worked with for so long before InvestorFuse and before Carrot, to be able to actually finally shake his hand, the human connection is real.
Yeah.
And that doesn't suddenly go away. The internet didn't kill the human connection from a business perspective. It didn't kill trust, and that needs to be built and established. And I don't think, to your point, AI is going to do it either.
Yep. No, exactly. Exactly.
So just diving in, because I'm conscious of your time, and I always want to kind of I always like to look a lot of the companies, certainly in smartphone, and a lot of the people who I share this podcast with, they're a mixture of people who are starting out and people who are scaling up.
Yeah.
When you look at your customer base and Carrot and the people you've mentored over the years, and when you look at that sort of transition from I'm just starting to I'm going bigger and bigger. What can you kind of give an insight to people on what maybe they should be thinking about in terms of their marketing? And I'm trying to scale out. What should I concentrate most on?
Yeah, dude, is this going to be on YouTube or just audio?
YouTube as well.
Can I share a screen really quick? I can literally show on screen. Verbalize.
Absolutely, as long as you verbalize it for people.
Yeah, verbalize it too. So I'm going to share my screen, y'all, and do my best to answer Jordan's question here. And so I'm bringing up my iPad, and the short answer to that is this was a number of years ago, and what I'm showing on my screen here Give me 1 second, actually. I'm going to go grab my Apple Pencil. 10 seconds.
Now, I'm sorry to interrupt this amazing conversation, but I wanted to make sure you knew that Smartphone, the only phone system built for real estate investors, connects to the best-in-class real estate investing CRMs. And because, as it's my show and I am co-founder and chairman of Smartphone, I got some great deals for you. Click the link and take advantage of 5,000 minutes free calling with Smartphone, the only phone system built for real estate investors. Click and call. Close more leads. Back to the show.
Here's what I found over the years, Jordan. And I've grown multiple companies. I've failed multiple companies. I've had multiple companies work really, really good. And what I found was, both with myself and people I worked with, there was a general pattern that was pretty much the same across every business that I worked with. And if I were to go at the highest level, and I'll go up for a few minutes here. At the coffee shop across the street, probably 8-9 years ago, I was sitting there drawing, and I was thinking, man, what is it? Why did I build these businesses? Right? Why did I build these businesses? Because in my vision, I didn't want to be running businesses forever. I wanted to own businesses, but I had never really sat down to say, well, what is my philosophy on business? What is it optimized for, and how do I get there? And I kept on writing in the middle of it these words is like freedom and impact. That's why I build businesses, to create freedom to go do the things you want to do and things like that. Freedom from the things that you don't want to have true in your life, that income ceiling or the job you don't like or whatever it's going to be, but then also to make an impact. And so when I sat there, it took over a number of months. I figured out, for me to make a business that does those things, and I'll answer your exact question down here in the levels. It's three things. First of all, having some level of purpose in the work. That's not new, right? But for me, purpose is encompassed with, you got to have a vision, some sort of a vision. And as you grow your business, that vision changes. And I'm going to kind of walk you through what someone should do from a starter to growing through that first level or two. You should have some idea of what you want to impact. Like, one of the 3 reasons I think a business should exist is to drive an impact that you're proud of. Like, we should make an impact we're proud of, whether it's with our team members or our customers in the community or something. We should be proud, not just taking money and stacking our bank accounts. Like, no, I'm proud of the work we get to do, right? And then part of it's identity, which we don't have time to go into today. But that second circle, if you were to call it, that helps you get freedom and impact, is building a business of consistent profits. And so at the start, I'll walk you guys through, if you're just getting started, what you do to make that happen, and then what the transition is. And there's a few things that goes into building a business of consistent profits. One of them is leverage. You add leverage to things that are working in your business. You can do that with 2 things. You can grow your skills, or you can add technology. And that's where Jordan and I, with our programs, our products, help you add leverage to your business. You already did something that is starting to kind of work manually. You're working your butt off manually. Yes. But now you go, oh man, I can't can't use my cell phone anymore. I got to use technology. I'm going to go use smartphone. I can't just do this anymore. I've got to go, launch a website. I guess here. Once that happens, you have a business now that you're doing impactful work. You're getting some level of consistent income, but your business owns you now because you're working 60, 70, 80 hours a week. And now we need to get our energy and time back. That's the third bucket that helps you build a business of freedom and impact: purpose, consistent profits, energy, and time. This is my model. You guys can go grab the graphic if you're just listening to this on my website, trevormauch.com. That's MAUCH.
I'll make sure those links go in the show notes, YouTube notes, everything, because this is really good stuff, and everybody who's listening needs to go and download it.
Yeah. So, and it's free. You don't have to opt in for it, guys. I just want everyone to get it. trevormauch.com/freedom. And here's what we do, Jordan, is pretty much we start here in vision, right? We got to have a vision for why we're wanting to do what we're wanting to do. And we got to be excited about changing our future in some way. It starts in vision, up in purpose, but then we go clockwise like this. And it's pretty much about a 2 to 4 year journey every single time you go around it. And that now leads us down into the levels. So the levels are pretty much you going around the entrepreneur freedom formula, from purpose to consistent profits, and building the marketing machine and the sales machine and the systems, right? And then over to buying your time back and energy back, and that's teams and playbooks and things like that. And then back up to refreshing your vision. Well, things break at 3s and 10s in business. So 100,000, 300,000, a million, 3 million, 10 million, 30 million, things break. Okay. And so let's now talk about it with that framing, that you're on this journey, you're going around this thing I call the entrepreneur freedom formula. And every trip around that means you're very likely hitting that next level. And then things are breaking again. Then you restart. You got to refresh the vision, a new, bigger vision based off of that new identity that you've got. You unpack the identity that's already in you, pull back some limiting beliefs because you've done some things. You can believe in a bigger vision now. And now that bigger vision turns into a little bit of a different strategy. Now you delegate different things at the next level and so on. So when you're first getting started, there's these things I call pain lines. Is it okay if I go into this for a few minutes? I don't want to.
Yeah, go. This is such good stuff. Please.
Cool. So there's these things I call pain lines, and pain lines are that feeling when you're running a business where you're like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm working a lot, and I don't know if I got anything done this week. I worked a ton of hours. I can't place anything that I got done. Or you start to second guess. You start to go, man, this is harder than I thought, and this isn't freeing me. This is actually trapping me, and maybe I should step back to the previous level, or maybe I should go back and get my job, go get a job again, or maybe I should quit this dream and just be okay with my job. Those are the things that happen in those pain lines. Okay, we start to give up the things in our life that give us the most joy. We cut out the workouts. We cut out the date nights. We cut out the hangs with friends because we're like, I just got to work harder. If you're in those modes, you're probably up against or close to a pain line. The pain line to get going from 0 to 100,000, that pain line's all mindset, right? It's like, we got to shift our mindset. We have to flip what I call the risk profile and go to no plan B. It's like, there's no plan B. This is going to work. It's not a matter of if this works. I've seen a gazillion real estate investors make this work. It's a matter of when it's going to work. I just got to stick to it, right? But from the marketing perspective, we're going to skip this whole kind of purpose and vision perspective on it now, but let's go down to marketing. To get to your first 100K, one market, one deal type, one marketing channel. I mean, that's it. You could probably get to 1 million in some markets with one market, one marketing channel, one deal type. Yeah, that might be pushing it in many markets, but you're just going to focus on one market. You're going to go, I'm only going to wholesale, or I'm only going to flip, or I'm only going to do land, or I'm only going to do whatever it's going to be. And then I'm going to press into that, and I'm going to test a few marketing channels. And the second I find something that seems to work, it gives me a bright spot, I'm going to hit that harder. And I'm just going to do more and more and more and more of it and dial it in. That'll get you 100,000. So what I'm usually going to suggest to people is you're probably not going to come out of the gates and just do SEO to do that unless you're patient, right? We had a guy who texted me yesterday, and it's Jeremy. He has a business that does a few million a year, but this year is his first year netting $1 million just through SEO. Carrot. But that took him a few years to get there. He was a TV guy. He's a direct mail guy. They got him to his first $1 million. Okay. So you're going to do a lot of hamster wheel marketing. What is the marketing? It's hamster wheel. It's probably going to be a good bunch of offline stuff. Hamster wheel is you just pick up the phone, or we're knocking on doors, or you're driving for dollars, or you're calling, whatever it is. You just getting to work and getting your first deals done. And then you start your evergreen marketing. Okay, you get that website online. You start to build some online credibility. You start to maybe do some SEO, or do the AI SEO, like we're teaching now how to get mentioned in GPT. You build the foundation. Once you do that, that'll get you to 100,000. You just got to stick with it, right? Get a coach. Make sure you're getting a coach. But now, and here's where I'll stop, Jordan, is at the 300,000, unless you want to go higher. Now to break that 100,000 and go to 3, you probably haven't left your job yet, but maybe you have, right? But you definitely don't have like an employee yet. And you're working overtime. And so now we need to go, shoot, time management is the new pain line. I don't have enough money to hire a bunch of team members. Maybe I can hire a VA to help with these things. I'm now starting to think about software, because I'm going, I can't do all these things now. I got to get that CRM, get the free version of Carrot CRM. Just carrot.com, grab the free version of it. That's free for you. You can grow in that. Some of the biggest people in the country use the paid versions. But we got to learn how to manage time better, and we can do that with technology and just getting wiser. But we're in full-blown rugged individualist mode on the identity side now. We're like, okay, this is kind of working. Let me put my head where I'm going to keep working this thing. And our aim is to go full-time, because you might be part-time at this point, still have 1 foot in a job maybe. And now what we need to do is master our market. We got some deals done in our market. I'm like, no, I need to master it now. I need to know everything about the pockets of town. Where are the best deals? Who are the people in this town I need to get to know? Who are the real estate agents who are going to be the ones who know these deals? Let's network. Who are the other flippers and wholesalers, right? Let me go meet with the attorneys in town that might be getting the probates. Like, master your market, dive deep on it. And only then is probably when I'm going to add my first paid marketing channel. After you hit 100K, only then add your first paid marketing channel, unless you got a ton of money to burn and you're just ready to go, right? At that point, maybe add your CRM at that point. Don't touch a darn CRM pre 100K, right? Use your notebook, use a spreadsheet.
You use sticky notes on walls, a whiteboard, whatever, man.
You do not need a CRM for that. Get to your first 100K. At that point, get the CRM, join Carrot's free version, and then, like I said, add a paid marketing channel. And then from there, you're just trying to master your skills. Can I get better at this sales thing? Can I get better at negotiation? Can I get better at marketing? You do that, now all of a sudden you're a performer. That's the identity you step into. You're like, oh, dude, I'm good at these things now. Okay, I'm going to perform really good at a couple things. If you perform really, really good at a couple things and maybe add another marketing channel in that 300K to $1 million, right? And then maybe add another market or another exit strategy in that 300K to $1 million. And then you start to dial in and document the marketing and sales process that's working. So you can plug in smartphones. So you can
You start building a business. You start actually building a business at this point.
Yeah, because now you have to delegate, because the pain line at 300K to $1 million is delegation. It's like you got some money cranking, you're working overtime, you're away from that initial pain. It's working for you. You've got some level of consistent income coming, but now you're like, dude, this isn't fun though, and so I need to get some help. The only thing that cracks you over $1 million, I work with a lot of people in my coaching program called Epic. That's what this is based around. A lot of the ones I work on are trying to get over that $1 million, stay over the $1 million. And the hardest shift that I've seen, Jordan, here's where I'll stop, is moving from the performer identity to the builder. Because the performer identity is what got you to 750 or $1 million. It's the very thing that's going to stop you at 900,000 or 1.
It's going to keep you there, and it's going to keep you there. Yeah,
exactly. So that's how I think about building business, using my business growth levels. And guys, those who are listening to it, yeah, check out the link in Jordan's show notes. Or check out my podcast, Entrepreneur Freedom Formula. I talk about all the stuff there.
Absolutely. Well, you know what? I'm not even going to bother doing my 3 normal questions, because I think that was such good stuff to end on. Like, that's such a powerful stuff. Trevor, I'm going to reach out to you. I would love to bring you into the smartphone community. Do check out Trevor, not only at carrot.com, which if you're in real estate, you're going to know it, but check out his own website as well. He's got such good stuff there. And I've seen Trevor speak live, and it is he was phenomenal in Tampa, and I definitely want to get him into the smartphone community, because I appreciate just the clarity you bring, and it's always such a pleasure to see you. So thanks so much for coming on the podcast.
Appreciate you, Jordan. Dude, enjoy London over there, buddy. Appreciate that.
All right, thanks, man.
Thanks for listening to another amazing episode of That Real Estate Tech Guy. Head over to thatrealestatetechguy.com to check out all episodes and get special discounts on tons of awesome real estate technology platforms.